Hello and welcome you all again in this lecture of Specialized Auditing Paper 6. Friends, in the earlier lecture we have discussed about meaning, definitions, characteristics and procedure of audit of cooperative consumer stores. After that we have studied the meaning and procedure of audit of salary earners cooperative society. Now in this lecture we are going to study audit of cooperative housing society. In that we will study meaning, laws applicable to cooperative housing society and procedure of audit of cooperative housing society. After that we will discuss the audit of urban cooperative credit society or bank. Then we will understand various provisions of Maharashtra State Cooperative Societies Act 2013, and lastly we will discuss various provisions of the Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act 2002. So let's see meaning of audit of cooperative housing society. Friends, housing cooperative has been defined as a legally incorporated group of persons, generally of limited means, pursuing the same cause of meeting the common need of housing or its improvement based on mutual. In such a cooperative, the membership is voluntary and assistance. Control is democratic and members make an approximately equal to contribution to the capital required. Now, let us see laws applicable to cooperative housing society. So, first is the Maharashtra Cooperative Society Act 1960. Second is the Income Tax Act 1961 and rules. The Service Tax Act and rules. Then fourth is the Bombay Stamp Act or the Indian Stamp Act. Next is the Indian Contract Act 1872. Then Sale of Goods Act 1930. Transfer of Property Act 1882. Next is Accounting Standards, Policies and Guidelines. Now let's see or let's understand the procedure of audit of cooperative housing societies. In that, first point is appointment and fees. Certain societies to be audited by the registrar auditors. Other societies to get accounts audited from panel of auditors maintained by the registrar or by a CA holding certificate in cooperative audit issued by ICAI. Then audit to be conducted by departmental auditors or by certified auditors, which includes chartered accountants, certain diploma holders and ex-staff of cooperative department. Then appointment is done by the registrar or on behalf of the registrar and report has to be submitted to the registrar. Next point is rights, duties and reporting. In that, section 81 and rule 69 outline rights and duties of auditor and report to the submitted by him. Then auditor has right to receive notice and of an attend annual general meeting. Then audit to be conducted for all the previous completed years for which the audit has not been done. Then besides audit report, auditor to submit audit memorandum in the prescribed format. Then summary of audit memorandum prepared by the auditors required to be read in general meeting. Next is statutory auditor to award audit classification. Then next specific feature or procedure is books or register required to be maintained in addition to regular books of accounts, section 79 and rules 65. In that, register of members, form I, list of members in form J, register of shares, then minutes, books of general meeting and board meetings, nomination register, register of audit objections and rectifications in form O, rule 73. Then next feature is audit of statement of accounts. In that, annual statement of accounts to be prepared within 45 days of the close of the cooperative year. The balance sheet and profit and loss account has to be prepared in form N by all the societies. And next point is general. In that, during first audit, the registration certificate with the common seal has to be verified. Restriction on transactions of a society with non-members of all appropriations are entered into the books of accounts after it is approved by AGM or annual general meeting. Then security to be furnished by officers and employees handling cash. Next is on liquidation, the balance may be divided amongst members or utilized for object of the society. Next feature is membership, share, capital and voting. Under this head, individuals means share capital of all excluding cooperative institutions and state government. Under section 22, a firm, a public trust, a local authority, a society or anybody corporate can become member. Then next feature is reserve fund and other reserves. In that, first is statutory reserve. At least 1/4 of the net profit to be transferred to reserve fund. Registrar has power to reduce it up to 1/10 only as per this section, subject to the rules and bylaws. The fund can be used in the business of the society. Then second is education fund of state federal society, a fund created out of annual contribution given by societies to state federal society at the rate specified in rule 53. For Maharashtra, the federal society is Maharashtra Rajya Sahakari Sangh Limited Pune, which utilizes this amount for education and training in cooperation. This amount is payable irrespective of whether the society earns a profit or not and whether a society has declared a dividend or not. The amount has to be paid within 3 months after the close of cooperative year. Next is sinking fund, a fund created to ensure due fulfillment of major repair and if guarantee given by government in respect of loans raised by the society. Next is cash. Maximum cash holding limits prescribed for certain societies. Excess cash has to be deposited in an approved bank within 3 days limits prescribed for cooperative housing society. It is rupees 300. Next point is balance with other banks. Permission required for opening bank account with other scheduled bank. Then investment. Investment of funds to be done only in modes specified in section 70 of the MCS Act. Read with rule 55. Next is fixed assets. No specific provision for depreciation and its rates under the Act. However, section 65(1) read with rule 49 under point section 6 state that for calculating net profit, depreciation has to be deducted from gross profit. Next is profit and loss account. Net profit to be determined after deducting expenses as provided in rule 49. A. As per accounting standard, mercantile system of accounting to be followed, but Act is silent on this aspect. However, reading Rule 49A regarding depreciation, various provisions of income tax, bad and doubtful debts, investment fluctuations, retirement benefits, etc. Form N of MCS rules and Form A and B of BR Act, it implies that accounts have to be maintained on mercantile basis. And last is rectification. Within 3 months from the date of the statutory audit report, the society has to submit a rectification report in Form O. Let's see, or let's move to the next point, that is audit of urban cooperative credit society. Let us see the meaning. Friends, as the name suggests, a bank operating in urban areas on the basis of cooperative principles is known as urban cooperative bank. There was no well-defined concept of an urban cooperative bank before 1939. Initially, UCBAs were organized as credit society in India and later converted into urban banks. It was the Mehta Bhansali Committee 1939 which made the first attempt to define an urban cooperative bank. Subsequently, in 1966, when banking laws were made applicable to cooperative banks, provision of Section 5 of Banking Regulation Act 1949 defined an urban cooperative bank as a primary cooperative bank other than a primary agricultural credit society. Let us see, or now let's discuss various points related to the audit of urban cooperative credit societies, or some points should be kept in mind in connection with the audit of urban cooperative credit society. First is finalization of audit. It is mandatory on the part of every auditor to finalize the audit and release the audit report within 6 months from the end of the cooperative year. Next is examination of proceeding books. The auditor shall examine the proceeding books of annual general meeting or statutory general meeting and board of director and offer his comments on the policies and programs formulated by the management and its effective implementation. Third is examination of credit appraisal. The auditor shall offer his or her comments in detail on credit appraisal, supervision and monitoring of loan account, whether the loan applications are being scrutinized properly, whether periodical review of loan amount, overdue amount, etc. is being taken by the management regularly. Then fourth is examination of RBI directives. An auditor is required to acquaint himself with the latest norms prescribed by RBI and directives issued by RBI from time to time before undertaking the audit of the bank. It is the duty of the auditor to go through the constitutional amendments on cooperative societies rule made thereunder by laws of the bank or societies and all other notification or orders or circulars or guidelines etc. issued by the registrar or any other authority from time to time while undertaking the audit and comment suitably in the audit report in case of violation. Then fifth is examination of provisions regarding SLR and CRR. The auditor appointed by urban cooperative bank or society shall be responsible to highlight the deviations by the management in respect of statutory liquidity ratio or cash reserve ratio or CD ratio and capital adequacy norms etc. as per the guidelines prescribed by the auditor. Next point is ascertain the cost of deposits. The auditor shall also ascertain the cost of deposits and pass detailed comments with regard to sustainability, whether there is any such unserviceable liability in the absence of scope for judicious employment of funds and need to be examined from the point of profitability. Next is scrutinize exposure norms in respect of maximum limit on advances. In that, the auditor appointed to undertake the audit of urban cooperative society credit society must scrutinize exposure norms as prescribed by RBI in respect of maximum limit on advances to a single borrowers or connected group and shall offer his comments in case if there are violations or deviations. Next is highlight the deviations by the management in respect of liquid resources. The auditor appointed by a urban cooperative credit society or other society shall be responsible to highlight the deviations by the management in respect of liquid resources to be maintained by the society and instructions or derivatives to be issued by registrar of cooperative societies in this regard. Next point is verification of disqualification of director or member of board of director. The auditor shall verify regarding disqualification of director or member of BOD of the society and pass necessary comments in case if any such director or member incurs disqualification due to the reasons cited under Act and for any other reasons as specified in bylaws of the concerned society. Next is verification of budget, whether yearly budget is prepared and placed before AGM means annual general meeting for its approval, whether actual amount has exceeded budgeted amount, if so specific approval of the annual general meeting for the exceeded amount is obtained subsequently or otherwise. Next is examination of remission or waiver of loan. Examine whether any remission or waiver of loan granted to the borrower during the period under audit. If so, number of beneficiaries and other details and compliances of procedure specified under the cooperative societies rule. Next is bifurcation of lendings. Bifurcation of lendings into priority sector, non-priority sector, etc. and suitable comments on the same. Next is loan and advances. Verify percentage of loans and advances to builders or contractors as against total amount of outstanding loans. Loans and advances to directors or relatives and firms and concerned in which they are interested and suitable comments on the same. Next is examination of share capital. The auditor appointed to undertake the audit of urban credit society or other society shall invariably examine the matter in respect of refund of share capital in accordance with the provisions specified under this act. Next is cash retention. Comments on cash retention by the society branches whether the same is in excess than the limit prescribed by the management and whether the same is adequately insured. And then next is acquisition of premises by urban cooperative credit society. Acquisition or construction of premises or land, whether norms or guidelines issued by registrar of cooperative societies are compiled with. And last is maintenance of book. Auditors should ensure the additional books of accounts kept by urban cooperative credit society like fixed deposit register and surety register. Now let's discuss various provisions of Maharashtra State Cooperative Societies Act. Friends, the Maharashtra Cooperative Society Act of 1960 has been amended with effect from 16 February 2013. The act is applicable to 2.47 lakh cooperative bodies all over Maharashtra with an annual turnover of rupees 6 lakh crore and a total member strength of 5.50 lakh. Act means the Maharashtra Cooperative Society Act 1960 Amendment 2013. In this act, the provisions are given in this lecture. First is books of account. The society shall maintain some books of accounts, record or register like the register of members in I form prescribed under Rule 32 of the MCS Rule 1961. Then the list of members in J form prescribed under Rule 33 of the MCS Rules 1961. Then the cash book, the general ledger, the personal ledger, the sinking fund register, the investment register, the nomination register, then the audit rectification register, etc. Then next provision is raising of funds. The funds of the society may be raised in one or more modes of raising in the following ways, like by entrance fees, by issue of shares, by loans and subsidies, by deposits, by voluntary donations, by contributions towards cost of buildings, by fees on transfer of shares, by premium on transfer of occupancy right over the facts, by and for election fund, etc. Then third is share capital. The authorized share capital of the society shall rupees 50 each, a share certificate prescribed in by law bearing distinctive number and in issue of share indicating the name of the member, the number of shares issued and the value paid thereon shall be issued by the society to every member for the shares subscribed by him within a period of 6 months of the allotment of the shares. Next is limit of liabilities. In that, deposits from members and loans may be received by the society for such period and at such rate of interest and up to such amount and on such terms and condition as may be determined by the committee, provided that at no time the total amount of such liabilities shall exceed the limit prescribed under Rule 35 of the rules. Next is constitution of the reserve fund. The reserve fund of the society shall comprise of the amounts of carried to the said fund from year to year out of the net profit of that year, all entrance fees received by the society from its members, all transfer fees received by the society from its member on transfer of shares, then all premium received by the society from its member on transfer of their interest, then all donation received by the society except those received by it for the specific purpose. Next provision is creation of other funds. The society shall create and establish some funds by collecting contributions from its members at the rate mentioned hereunder. The repairs and maintenance fund, then major repairs funds like the sinking funds, then to create education and training funds, etc. Then next is utilization of the funds by the society. The society may utilize its fund in the manner of reserve fund, repairs and maintenance funds, then sinking funds, investment of funds, etc. Then next point is investment of funds. The funds of the society, when not employed in its business, may be invested or deposited as required under section 70 of the Act. Then next provision is eligibility of membership. In that, no individual shall be admitted as a member of a society except some in some cases, that is to say, who is competent to contract under the Indian Contract Act 1872, then a firm, company or any other body corporate constituted under any law for the time being force, then a society registered or deemed to be registered under the act, then the state government of the central government, or then a local authority. Next is a public trust registered under any law for the time being in force for the registration of such trust. Next point is condition for membership, in that an individual who is eligible to be the member and who has applied for membership of the society in the prescribed form may be admitted as a member by the committee on complying with the some condition, like he has fully paid the value of at least 10 shares of the society along with his application for membership, then he is paid the entrance fees of rupees 100 along with the application of membership, then he has given the application as prescribed the particulars in regard to any house, plot or flat owned by him, then he has given the undertaking in the prescribed form to be effect that he shall use the flat for the purpose for which it was purchased by him, then he has furnished an undertaking in the prescribed form, then he has sent along with the application for membership of the society a certified copy of the agreement duly stamped entered into by him with the promoter. Then next is cessation of membership, in that the person shall cease to be the member of the society on his resignation from membership of the society having been accepted by the committee on transfer of all his shares and interest in the capital property of the society on his death, on his expulsion from the membership of the society. Then incorporation of society. Next provision is the registration of the society shall render it a body corporate by the name under which it is registered, with perpetual succession and common seal, and with power to acquire, hold and dispose of the property, to enter into contracts and other legal proceedings, hold and dispose of the property, to enter into contract and other legal proceeding, and to do all such things as are necessary for the purpose for which it is constituted. Next provision is first general meeting. The first general body meeting of the promoters who have signed the application for registration of the society shall be held within the period of 3 months of the date of the registration of the society as provided under Rule 59 of the rules. It shall be responsibility of the chief promoter of the society to convene the said meeting within the stipulated period. Next is annual general body meeting. The annual general body meeting of the society shall be held on or before 30 September each year as provided under section 75 subsection 1 of the Act. Next point is appropriation of profits, in that after providing for the interest upon any loans and deposits, and after making such other deductions as required under section 65 subsection 1 and 66 of the MCS Act 1960 and rules 49A of MCS rules 1961, 25% of the net profit of all the business carried on by or on account of the society shall be placed at the credit of the reserve fund of the society. The remaining 75% of the net profit of the society shall be utilized as provided under Rule 50, 51, 52, 53 of MCS Rules 1961. Then next is audit of accounts of the society. In that, the society may, if it considers it necessary, appoint an internal audit to audit the accounts of the society. At the annual general meeting, the society shall appoint the statutory auditor in its general body meeting from the panel of auditor approved by state government. Then last is important amendments in Maharashtra cooperative societies. In that, there will be only two types of members, that is nominal and associate member, as against nominal, associate and sympathizer member. As per old act, sympathizer member is deleted. Member is further classified as active member and non-active member. Active member defined as one who participate in the affairs of the society and utilize the minimum levels of services or products of that society as may be specified in the bylaws. Now, let's see the provisions of Multi-State Cooperative Society Act 2002. In that, different provisions are given. First is books of account. Or first we try to understand the Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act 2002. Friends, the Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act 2002, which came into force in August 2002, applies to cooperative societies whose objects are not confined to one state. The Act contains detailed provisions regarding registration, membership and management of such societies. Chapter 7 of the Act deals with properties and funds of the multi-state cooperative societies. The funds of multi-state cooperative society cannot be utilized for any political purposes. This Act contains detailed provision regarding the investment of funds and restrictions on loans borrowings. For examples, first is books of accounts. In that, as per Multi-State Cooperative Societies Rule 2002, every multi-state cooperative society shall keep books of account with respect to all sum of money received and expended and matters in respect of which the receipt and expenditure take place, all sale and purchase of goods, the assets and liabilities. Then second is qualification of auditor, section 72. A person who is a chartered accountant within the meaning of the Chartered Accountant Act 1949 can only be appointed as an auditor of multi-state cooperative society. Next is appointment of auditors, section 70, subsection 6. First, auditor or auditors of a multi-state cooperative society shall be appointed by the board within a 1 month of the date of registration of such a society, and the auditor or auditors so appointed shall hold office until the conclusion of the first annual general meeting. Next provision is power and duties of auditors, section 73. In that, every auditor of a multi-state cooperative society shall have a right of access at all times to the books, accounts and vouchers of the multi-state cooperative society, whether kept at the head office of the multi-state cooperative society or elsewhere, and shall be entitled to required from the officers or others employees of the multi-state cooperative society such information and explanation as the auditor may think necessary for the performance of his duties as an auditor. Next point is fifth, content of auditor's report. As per section 73 subsection 3 and 4 of Multi-State Cooperative Society Rule 2002, the auditor's report shall contain some particulars like subsection 3. The auditor shall make a report to the members of the multi-state cooperative society on the accounts examined by him and on every balance sheet and profit and loss account and on every other document required to be part of or annexed to the balance sheet or profit and loss account which are laid before the multi-state cooperative society in general meeting during his tenure office, and the report shall state whether in his opinion and to the best of his information and according to the explanation given to him the said account give the information required by this act in the manner so required and give a true and fair view. Next is subsection 4. The auditor report shall also state whether he has obtained all the information and explanation which to be the best of his knowledge and beliefs were necessary for the purpose of his audit. Then 6th point is power of central government to direct special audit in certain cases. Under section 77, where the central government is of the opinion that the affairs of any multi-state cooperative society are not being managed in accordance with self-help and mutual deed and cooperative principle or prudent commercial practices or with sound business principles. Then next point is inquiry by central registrar under section 78. In that, the central registrar may, on a request from a federal cooperative to which a multi-state cooperative society is affiliated or creditor or not less than 1/3 of the members of the board or not less than 1/5 of the total number of members of the multi-state cooperative society, hold an inquiry or direct some person authorized by him by order in writing in his behalf to hold an inquiry into the constitution, working and financial condition of a multi-state cooperative society. And last is inspection of multi-state cooperative societies under section 79. The central register may, on a request from federal cooperative to which a multi-state cooperative society is affiliated or a creditor or not less than 1/3 of the members of the board or not less than 1/5 of the number of members of multi-state cooperative society by general or special ordering in writing in this behalf inspect or direct any person authorized by him by order in writing in this behalf to the make an inspection into the constitution, working and financial condition of a multi-state cooperative society. Thank you.